Democratic Congressman from South Carolina, Jim Clyburn. I sense we're going to be going back to Lizard's Thicket soon. I hope you'll meet us there. But I think, looking at you, you probably will make very good choices there.
Thank you.
Yes, you look very good, sir.
I'm on the vegetable plate now.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Okay. Well, let's start with your approval ratings in Congress, how you all are doing, because they're up.
Well,
to 16%. They're not too good. What's going on? Why can't we affect some change here and make people feel like something's getting done? Maybe is it because nothing's getting done?
Well, that's quite true. Nothing is getting done, and I don't think it's designed to get anything done between now and the elections. We're going to tread water and wait on what I've been calling the mother of all lame ducks.
Really?
I don't think we'll get much done before November.
What about on the tax issue, with trying to, at least from $250,000 on up, make them stay in place, as well as to others? Is that argument, is there going to be any compromise?
No, I think it's just, we're trying to keep in place all income up to $250,000.
And here's a poll on it. In terms of who is for extending the tax cuts for everyone, 52%. For those only making under $100,000 and $250,000, which the president wants, 43%.
You know, Mika, the problem we have with that is that people are explaining it wrong. It's not on the person, it's on the income. It's all income under $250,000, which means that if you're making $1 million a year, you still get the tax cut on your first $250,000. The tax will only apply on income above $250,000.
Right.
So every single American will be subjected to this tax cut.
And Republicans will say that hurts businesses, that hurts job growth, that really hurts the very companies that are trying to get people back to work, job creators.
And I think that most people, including small businesses, want to see us get this deficit under control. And for us to do that, I think that people income above $250,000 a year ought to really help us pay this deficit down.
Harold, jump in.
There are a number of, good morning, always good to see you. There's a movement afoot among some Democrats and others to say perhaps if you raise the number to $1 million as opposed to the $250,000. First of all, politically and optically, it might be easier to understand, except that someone making $1 million is wealthy. There's been people pointed out that you can find in some cities a family of 4, both parents working, both school teachers, and they make $250,000 a year, a little more, and they may be subjected to these higher taxes. Is there a possibility that that number can jump to $1 million? And you said at the beginning, perhaps the most depressing for me is you don't think anything will happen before the lame duck. What confluence of events or what set of events could cause Congress to maybe want to act before the election, Republicans and Democrats, but particularly the Republican leadership, to bring something to the floor, be it on avoiding the fiscal cliff, avoiding sequestration? I mean, because these are issues, obviously, the business community is deeply concerned about as well.
Well, I think most experts, at least the ones that I have been paying a lot of attention to, do not believe we're going to a cliff. It's more of a slide. They think we've got time beyond December 31st in order to get some things done. So if you're looking at a sort of a economic slide rather than a cliff, then I think it's okay for us to spend too much doing the lame duck, really doing maybe a one-year fix until such time we can have some public hearings. I really believe we ought not go into tax reform without having some real significant input from the American people. I think that so much of what is happening in Washington is because we have not been listening to the American people. We have not engaged them in this process. We go into these committee rooms and we come out with these platitudes. People want to be involved in this process, and let's go forward working together. If we were to do that, take a year, maybe 2013, and really have some significant input from the American people, then they'll be to whatever it is that we're doing. Why our ratings are so low? Simply because people don't feel that they have any buy-in.
Go ahead, Dan.
Congressman.
And then Sam Stein.
Harold talks about letting that number go up to $1 million. There are a number of Senate Democrats, about 8 by my last count, who think the $250,000 cutoff is too low a threshold. So where are they coming from? I mean, they're not just doing the bidding, as you'd agree, they're not just doing the bidding in big business. These are Democratic senators who care about thriving small businesses in their communities, in their states, and they think $250,000 is too punitive and too distorting and stifling for our economy right now.
Well, the question is, let's have that debate.
Okay.
You know, the president's laid out $250,000. And they're talking about $1 million.
Let's just go into basic numbers here. It's not that complicated. The deficit's $1 trillion. The president's tax plan on the top 2% estimated to raise between $60 and maybe $100 billion. So their best case, Congressman, is 10% of the deficit. The American public, as evidenced by that graphic, 48% basically said let it go up on everybody. They know taxes have to go up on everybody or services have to be cut on everybody. True or false?
That's quite true.
So why are we having this debate about the top 2%? Because why doesn't somebody come out and say we either raise taxes on everybody across the board, including poor people, middle class, whatever, or we have to cut because the numbers aren't even close. But I don't like it, but the numbers aren't even close. They're $900 billion off.
Go ahead, Congressman.
Well, we're talking about a 10-year plan. If we were going in, let's look at the balanced approach to this. Look, I sat on the so-called super committee. We had a lot of meetings. I was on the Biden group. We had a lot of meetings. I'm telling you, the numbers you're using are not the numbers that we are getting from CBO when we sit down and talk about how to project out for the next 10 years. I think having this $250,000 exemption on the first $250,000 is a good way to start paying down the debt. Remember, if you create the growth,
it's just a start, though.
See, if you were to take the numbers just as they appear today, not taking into account any growth that takes place in the economy when you're doing this, then you're correct. But if you start looking at what will the growth be after 24 months and 48 months, those numbers...
I agree, Congress. If we can get 4.5% economic growth, that will solve a lot of our problems.
Absolutely.
And we both hope we do.
Absolutely. And that's what we're working hard to do.
There's a book coming out tomorrow in Dallas, which we need to talk about coming up. Congressman Jim Clyburn, thank you very much. Still ahead. Good to see you, by the way.